Hey you, come closer. I'm not supposed to talk about this, but there's this conspiracy. Lean closer. Imagine the US government is plotting to attack on its own citizen. In 1962, this was very real. The US military devised a plan called Operation Northwood. The goal? To justify an invasion of Cuba by framing Fidel Castro's regime for attacks that they did not commit. They proposed hijacking planes, blowing up ships, and even staging a fake terrorist attack on American soil, all while blaming Cuba. This is to oppose Fidel Castro's communist government, the Soviet Union, which is the USA enemy at that time, because the Soviet Union has a close ally from the American soil. The plan was approved by Joint Chief of Staff, but was ultimately rejected by President John F. Kennedy. He was hesitant to engage in action that could escalate into a full-scale war, especially during already high tension after the failed base of Peg invasion in 1961. Thanks to the JFK Assassination Records Act, the shocking document was released, exposing the US military plans to fake attack on the American to justify war with Cuba. While the world was dreaming of peace, scientists were secretly harvesting the dead. This was Project Sunshine, a global experiment that stole body parts to study the effects of nuclear fallout. It all started with a question: how much radiation does it take to destroy a human body from the inside out? Without consent, corpses were taken from hospital, morgue, even cemetery, and shipped across the globe. Grieving families were left with no idea that their loved ones were missing part of themselves. A British mother had even said that her stillborn baby leg were removed by the doctor, and to prevent her from finding out what happened, she was not allowed to dress the baby for the funeral. In 1961, the Canada built a machine to detect gay people. It was called the Fruit Machine. The idea? To identify homosexuality using pupil dilation, heart rate, and even sweat responses while the subject is watching stimulating images. But here's a catch: it didn't work at all. The results were widely inaccurate based on the flawed science and harmful stereotype. Many innocent people were targeted, their career were destroyed, and their life completely turned upside down. Thousands of Canadians were fired, excluded, and shamed during what became known as the Gay Purge. A machine that claimed to expose truth instead became a weapon of fear and discrimination. Back then, they used a machine to guess who's gay. Today, we'll just ask, hey, do you listen to Justin Bieber? And call it a day. This wasn't even the best part. Do you know about a bomb that is designed to make your enemy fall in love with each other? It sounds stupid, but this was a real proposal. They call it the gay bomb, a chemical weapon that will release pheromones, triggering uncontrollable same-sex attraction amongst enemy troops. Chaos on the battlefield without firing a single bullet. The scientists actually pitched it as a way to disrupt unit cohesion by turning the battlefield into a rom-com. In the 1990s, the US Air Force Wright Laboratory brainstormed a non-lethal weapon to destabilize the enemy. Thankfully, it never left the brainstorming phase. When disclassified years later, it didn't cause panic, just laughter and some very awkward questions. Well, I think that's too much gay for a day. Why not we switch to... Okay, so here's a wild one for you. What if the Vietnam attack never happened? Forgot about the moon landing. In 1964, the tension between US and the North Vietnam is at all-time high. In August 2nd, at the water off Vietnam, a US Navy ship called the USS Maddox claimed it was attacked by the North Vietnamese boat. Shots were fired and the Maddox suffered only a minor damage. It only took a single bullet hole, but the North Vietnamese boat was significantly damaged. 2 days later, the Maddox and another ship, the USS Turnerjoy, reported a second attack. This time, they said the boats were coming at them fast. Alarm was sounded and the ship fired back, but here's the shocking part. There's no proof that this second attack ever happened. The Congress agreed and passed the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, giving Johnson the power to send the US troops to Vietnam. This decision started a war that lasted years, cost a million of lives, and changes history forever. Later, it turned out that the radar might have been wrong and the crew may have misread what they saw. Investigation even confirmed there were no Vietnamese force present anywhere near either of these ships that night. This ended up becoming the most controversial war in US history. The Vietnam War was brutal, but one event stands out as a horrifying stain in history. the Lai Massacre. On March 16, 1968, a unit of US soldiers entered a small village called Lai and killed many of the defenseless and innocent civilians. They get the order to clear out the Viet Cong forces. The Viet Cong were the communist forces fighting for the South Vietnam during the Vietnam War. But there were no enemy fighter in Lai, only an unarmed villager. However, under the command of Lieutenant William Kelly, the soldier began killing civilians mercilessly. Over the next 4 hours, more than 500 unarmed men, women, children, and even infants were killed. Women were brutally assaulted. Homes were burned to the ground. The tragedy didn't end here. A military cover-up labeled the massacre as a successful mission, claiming enemy casualties. For over a year, the truth remained hidden, until a former soldier exposed it by writing a letter to Congress. The story broke late in 1969, shocking the world. Only one man, Lieutenant William Kelly, was convicted, but he served just 3 years under house arrest. Wait. I know how you feel, but don't go just yet, because I have one more theory that you definitely want to hear. Thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next video.